Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and today I'm going to be answering the question, what are the best Pokemon to breed for profit in PokeMMO? Now, this is going to be a little bit more of an intermediate to advanced guide. If you don't know about the basics of breeding, I recommend going and checking out my guide on that. If you don't know about the basics of breeding for profit, I might have a couple resources linked in the description down below. This is where we're going to be answering what Pokemon specifically should you look out for when trying to breed for profit. Now, everybody knows you can make a ton of Pokeyen breeding for profit in PokeMMO, some of the most per hour. You can pretty consistently make around 400 to 600,000 Pokeyen per hour doing this, but it's really mentally taxing. You have to focus a lot. It requires a lot of upfront capital, and it requires a lot of knowledge on the market, economy, and just the general breeding system. So it's a pretty tricky and pretty high requirement method. And the answer to this question is always changing. I usually explain this by talking about the rubber band effect. You see, when something like Gible, for example, becomes the best Pokemon to breed for profit, everybody starts and goes to breed Gible. But if something like Spiritomb becomes the best Pokemon to breed for profit, then everybody goes and breeds Spiritomb, and while everybody's breeding Spiritomb, everybody forgets about Gible. So then Gible prices go back up because the supply has gone down, but the demand for Gible is still there. And then everybody goes back to Gible because prices are good. And then when everybody goes back to Gible, everybody forgets about Spiritomb. And you guys see the cycle that happens. So the answer to this question is constantly changing on what's the best, but there are a lot of stipulations you want to look out for. So let's go ahead and actually start covering them. First things first, I always recommend breeding for profit, checking out the top 10 most used Pokemon in every single tier in PvP. So we have the OU tier, breeding things like Garchomp, Scizor, Rotom, Dragonite, Tyranitar, Starmie, Gliscor, Glade, Chansey. All of this stuff is super good. You can even throw in like certain hot button Pokemon is really good, or Pokemon that have moved PvP tiers recently. So for example, Glade. Glade recently got the Sharpness ability, and that boosted it from the NU tier all the way up to OU, and it was a pretty underused Pokemon before that, so there was very few competitive Glades in the game. And now all of a sudden, it's a pretty good OU Pokemon. So now all of these OU players need competitive Glades. So breeding Glades for profit, at least at the time of making this video, this might be very, very different by the time you guys see this. It was huge money, or it currently is huge money to breed Glades or male Ralts. So being caught up on the news of PokeMMO, being caught up on tier changes, and being caught up on what's good in each tier is really, really important. Now we're going to go through UU and NU and everything else as well. Randoms obviously doesn't matter. You can't breed for Pokemon at randoms. You don't team build there, so it doesn't matter. Don't pay attention to that. But any of the top 10 or so most used Pokemon in any of the PvP tiers is a really good start. The second type of Pokemon that is really good for breeding from profit is popular PVM Pokemon. Now this is a little bit more of a tough one to qualify, since you really just need to understand what's going on in the game to be able to answer this question. So for example, I know that gym reruns are one of the best money making methods in the game. People need Typhlosions. Typhlosions are in super high demand. 2x31 level 100 Typhlosions, I believe, go for around 300k. Yeah, around 280, 300k, you can often make tons of profit from breeding Typhlosions. So Typhlosions is a good one. Aerodactyl, Togekiss, Chandelure, Crocodile, and Garchomp. Those are some of the big PVM comp Pokemon that come to my mind. Garchomp is just used for general storyline stuff. Aerodactyl is used for some certain gym rerun strats. Togekiss is used for certain gym rerun strats, and also used during certain holiday events. Pokemon that are good for holiday events is also super important. That includes things like Chandelure. Chandelure and Crocodile are actually both used for the Halloween event, so that might be something worth keeping in mind if it's around that time period. Or if it's coming up, you might want to breed some of those in preparation. Crocodile is a good one. All these are good PVM Pokemon to breed for profit. The next great example is going to be catching and or utility Pokemon. The king of this is Smeargle, since people need good IV Smeargles all the time. They need different builds of Smeargles. I have probably 6 or so different Smeargles in my PC, all of which have decent-ish IVs usually. The one I just showed is my worst one by far, but I have this one for Hoppip. That one's 5x, 4x31 overkill. I have this one, which is an assist Smeargle. This one, which is a normal catching Smeargle with Surf. This one is going to be Imprison Rage Powder. Like there's tons of different Smeargle builds, so people need quite a large amount of Smeargles, so you can really never go bad or go wrong with breeding Smeargles for profit. Breloom/Shroomish is another good one. Obviously, one of the best, if not, it's probably the best catching Pokemon in PokeMMO, but it doesn't have quite the utility that Smeargle has. But Shroomish/Breloom is also a good one since it's also a good PvP Pokemon. You can sell Shroomish or Breloom in really high demand since they're used in catching and also used in PvP. Next up, I want to talk about egg move Pokemon, and there's two really good examples of this. There's Azumarill with Belly Drum and Aqua Jet. This thing is a pain to breed these egg moves on. I do have guides for this on my channel if you're interested, but people need competitive Azumarills. It's a really good competitive Pokemon, and having Aqua Jet and Belly Drum is pretty much required for competitive play for it to actually be like at its peak and at its most useful. Another really good example, and this kind of weaves in with PVM Pokemon, is Water Spout Blastoise. These are chain egg moves. These are a pain to do, but people need them. But not everybody understands the breeding system or knows how to do it, so they'll go to the GTL and look for these egg move Pokemon. Water Spout Blastoise is really good for Jimmy runs. It's what I use. I use them, and they're super in demand. And once again, I have a guide on how to breed Water Spout Blastoise on my channel. Alright, next up, I have two specific Pokemon that I actually want to talk about. One of them being Rotom. And you might have actually noticed earlier when I was actually looking through all the PvP tiers is that Rotom is like the most used Pokemon in all of PokeMMO for PvP. He is currently the third most used in OU. He's currently the second most used in UU. He is the second most used in NU. In doubles, he's in like the top 10. Rotom is the most single-handedly desired Pokemon in all of PokeMMO because he is so good and so useful in every single PvP tier. People need him. So many Rotoms, so many good IV Rotoms are required into the game. Rotom is almost always good for breeding for profit. Now keep in mind, Rotom is a genderless Pokemon, so you do need to breed him with other Rotoms or Dittos. Usually Dittos is the best way to go. Find some good, cheap Dittos. You can usually find some really good deals on Dittos on the GTL at the moment. The second singular Pokemon is going to be Eevee, and Eevee kind of falls into the similar position as Rotom, as it has some really good evolution forms that are good in different PvP tiers, but it's not nearly as good as Rotom. There's not really a single evolution that is even close to being as good as any other Rotom form, so like Jolteon at least is down in UU now and is probably performing okay there. I know Vaporeon is a good example of a Pokemon that just got moved. Vaporeon just got moved to NU, so now NU players like myself, I actually need to get myself a Vaporeon, so it's a really good example of a Pokemon being moved in tiers, and now there's a huge surge in the demand for it. So Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon's really the one you want to avoid though. Avoiding physical attacking EVs is usually good. The only evolutions that need physical attack are Leafeon and Flareon, and they're probably the worst by far. Usually going for some sort of special attacking evolution or just EV in general is really good. A quick little tip, breeding every stat onto an EV except for the attacks is usually really good as well. So breeding an EV with like 4x31 in HP, defense, special defense, and speed, or even 3x31 in just HP, defense, special defense, that's a very good starting spot. You want to breed that and then just sell that. And those will usually sell for really good money because people need those since it's a stat that every single EV needs. You don't have to risk the 31 special attack if someone's looking for like a Flareon or something of the sort. Alright, but that is all of the examples I want to talk about. If you guys have any suggestions or think I missed anything really big or important, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to like this video if it was helpful to you. That's really helpful to me with the algorithm and everything. What's up, dog? Looking slick with the fit. I appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you guys do enjoy the daily PokeMMO content, make sure to follow on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord link is down below if you're interested in that. And if you want to go above and beyond, if my content has earned it from you, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal/Venmo all do help out a ton and allow me to remain full-time. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Hey, thanks so much for watching the entire video. I really appreciate that, and if your name is on this list, I appreciate you even more. Thank you to everyone who goes above and beyond and supports my channel and allows me to make content full-time. I couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day.